What's up, everybody? Welcome to a Friday edition of The Squeeze. I am your host, Tyler Connie. I'm very chilly, very freezing cold Friday. If you were in Ontario, I think it's minus 35 or something with the wind chill today. So a bit ironic that we have no hockey to bet on. There is a skills competition tonight, and they're down in Miami. They're in Florida. So a bit ironic that we don't have that. We might dabble in a little bit of props for the skills competition. Either way, we'll be watching for sure. But just NBA going on. As I mentioned yesterday, it is the dog days of the winter. We just have NBA basketball to bet on. So it's going to be one of those things. I try to do 3 bets every single day for you guys. If there's a day that it's just not there, then I will only do 2. If I only have to do 1, I can only do. There's only so much you can do. I'm not going to give you picks that I'm not confident in just to get 3 picks out. But we do have 3 today. We're coming off another 1-2 day yesterday. It was a tough day. We had Miami and New York to go over 213. Tyler Hero had a shot at the buzzer that would have put us over if he hit it. He missed it. So that finished at 210. The Grizzlies and the Cavaliers went way over their total, so that was surprising. The Dallas game was interesting. So we bet this at minus 4.5. It finished at 5, but Dallas was up by like 40 points going into halftime, and they only won by 5. So it's one of those like interesting things that's the number that it falls on. New Orleans outscored them in the second half, 33-25 in the third quarter and 30-16 in the fourth. Luka didn't even play the second half. So I thought that was interesting. That was the bet that we did cash, but it was interesting that line moved. And if you do follow me on Twitter, we hit a 3-leg parlay of the Bulls, the Mavericks, and the Nuggets all in the money line. It was a plus 154 parlay, which was great. So overall in the day, up, but down 1.2 units officially here today. So let's get right into it. We're going to start in Boston. We've got the Phoenix Suns at the Boston Celtics. This should be a fun game. Phoenix is 27-26, obviously down a little bit with Booker out. Boston's 37-15. Celtics are 20-6 at home, and the Suns are 8-17 on the road. So I think Boston's going to win this basketball game. Odds are way too juicy for that, so I'm just going to go with the total, which is 226. I think it's actually moved down to 225, so I'm going to like that too because I'm taking the over 226 for minus 110 at FanDuel. On this season, the Suns are 26-27 to the over. The Celtics are 26-25. So both are sort of right around the same mark there. When you look at Phoenix lately, their over is 4-0 in their last 4 following an ATS loss. Over is 5-0 in their last 5 following a double-digit loss. And the over is 5-0 in their last 5 on a straight-up loss. When you look at Boston, they've been playing a little bit under. Boston hasn't really been playing that well. They've been on a bit of a cold streak. I think this is a good time for them to turn it around. These two teams have gone over 6 out of the last 8 times they've met in Boston. When you look at injuries, of course, you've got Marcus Smart who's out. You've got Devin Booker who's out. But I do think that this game can get over the mark of 226. When you look at the recent totals, and this is a low total for these two teams, right? So when you look at Phoenix, the totals have been 231, 219, 231, 221, 222, 232, 229. With Boston, similar story, 234, 229, 241, 230, 232. They've been going back and forth. Call it a feeler bet a little bit, but I think the Boston Celtics and the Phoenix Suns, without Marcus Smart, without Devin Booker, I think there's going to be a lot of points scored, and I look for it to go over the total of 226, minus 110 at FanDuel. Shop around, that number has actually dropped a little bit, which is good. That's an over. Let's go under, and for that, we're going to head to the Motor City, Detroit, as hosting Charlotte at the Little Caesars Arena. This should be an interesting game. This is a team, the Detroit Pistons 13-39, the Charlotte Hornets 15-38. Both of them are more towards the over on the season, but this number is huge. It's at 241.5. I got this for under 241.5 for minus 115 at Proline. Charlotte did just play last night. They lost to Chicago. It was 114.98. That total was set at 237. It went under by 26 points. Previous to that, they lost at Milwaukee. That total was set at 244, and that went under by 6 as well. So when you look at the recent trends, under is 4-0 in the Pistons' last 4 games playing on 1 day's rest. And again, the interesting thing, because you might look at this and go, well, these teams are trending over, but look at the totals, right? Again, this is 241.5. When you go down the list for the Hornets, 237 under, 244 under, 224 went over, but only by 10 points, so not enough to get to 244. When you look at their last few over totals, 222.5 over, but wouldn't have got to 241, 235 over, that one landed on 241, 236 went over by 3. So when you look at the totals, you might say, wow, it's trending to the over. You have to read the totals as well. Same thing with Detroit. The last time their total was over 240. They haven't had a total over 241 in the last 10 games. So that said, and especially with the tired legs, Charlotte playing last night at Chicago was actually a pretty good game. They were actually fairly close, closer than you'd think. I like this total to go under 241.5 for minus 115 at Pro Line. And we're going to end the day in Indiana. We've got the 29-21 Sacramento Kings visiting the Pacers, who are 24-29. Pacers are 16-11 at home, but the Sacramento Kings have been really good on the road at 13-10. This line is at minus 3 for minus 108 at FanDuel. That's for the Kings, and I'm going to take it. I think the Sacramento Kings do win this game. They're in the midst of an interesting road trip. So they are on a 7-game road trip. It started in Minnesota. They lost. Then they beat Minnesota 2 days later. They've beat San Antonio. They play at Indiana tonight, and then they go to New Orleans and then go to Houston for back-to-back games. So they're on the road. They're right in the smack in the middle of this road trip, which is a good spot to catch a team because they've started to get accustomed to it. They know they're not going home for a while, so they're going to play hard. Then you've got Indiana, who's a loser of 4 straight games, coming off a 112-111 loss to the Los Angeles Lakers. When you look at the recent matchups, Kings are 4-1 ATS the last 5 times they've played. De'Aaron Fox is out for personal reasons tonight. I think that's okay. I still think the Sacramento Kings can get it done. When the last couple times they played, so they last played November of last year, so they have played this season. It was a 137-114 drumming by Sacramento. You go back to last year in March, Sacramento won that game 110-109 as well. Indiana has not played very well at all, especially at home. When you look at Indiana, they're 0-6 ATS in their last 6 games versus a team with a winning record, so they're really not playing very well against opposition that is good. So another tough day on the slate. I know these picks might be a little bit boring. We're just trying to, make some money. We're trying to make up some units here. So it's slim pickings. I'm excited for hockey to come back, but it's going to be one of those times where we've just got NHL and we've just got NBA really into the spring until baseball starts up again. So it is what it is there. I'll try to dabble a little bit, but again, I don't want to give you guys picks and I'm not 100% confident in. College basketball is definitely not my forte. I'm not good there, but we'll try to play around. Of course, I want to make it interesting as well, but you do what you got to do. So let's just run back down this card. I like for the Phoenix Suns and the Boston Celtics to go over 226, minus 110 at FanDuel. I like the Charlotte Hornets and the Detroit Pistons to go under 241.5, minus 115 at Proline Plus. And I like the Sacramento Kings minus 3, minus 108 at FanDuel. I'm just laying one flat unit on all of these bets, even though they are juiced because we're having a bit of a rocky start. As always, drop a comment if you're fading or following. Follow me on Twitter at Tyler Connian for more picks and props throughout the day. For just the pick portion, you can follow me on TikTok at Tyler Connian, on Instagram at SqueezeBets. Audio versions available on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Let's have a good Friday. Let's enjoy the NHL All-Star Game and the skills competition, and let's just talk sports.